Hi, my name is Justin, and from my second milestone, I wanted to finish my modification, which was my custom controller, and here's what I have so far. I tested it out, and it worked pretty good. For the button, it's pretty simple. It uses 1 zeros to tell whether it's on or off, 0 being off and 1 being on. But for the joystick, it's a little bit complicated. Because we hooked up the joystick to 5 volts, there's 5 volts going through it. So it uses a value from 0 to 5 to determine how far to the right or left or up and down the joystick is actually moving. For example, when the joystick's in the middle, approximately 2.5 volts is going through it. And the reasonable calculation would be that it is in the middle of 0 and 1023. And we know this is true because in the Arduino sketch program, when we hook up the serial monitor, it says that when we don't move it, it's about 5013 to 5013. So that's how we know it's in the middle, and that's how we know that's correct. So the first thing I started off with doing is coding the buttons, and as you can see here, these first 10 lines are basically defining each button. So button 1 is corresponding to pin 4. So when a button is connected to pin 4 on the USB game controller setup, when you press that button, it pops up as button 1, and you see right here, button 1, and then pin 4. Same with all these other ones, and 1, 2, 3, 4 corresponds to 5, 6, 7, and so on. And as you go further down, this set of code basically sets it so each button is set to pull up, which means that the button is connected to 5 volts, and to complete the circuit you need to push it down, which completes the circuit and lets the button perform its action, which is turning on and doing whatever action is corresponding to it. Here is the last button state. It basically means that when the thing starts, the last button state, it is automatically off, and when you press a button, it switches to 1. And that is where this code comes in. This code basically means if the current button state is not the same as the last button state, then it'll go from 0 to 1, because there's only two options, 0 on or off. 0 meaning it is off, and 1 meaning it is on. And this is the code that helps it turn on and off when it's pressed. So for coding the joysticks, I start off by defining what each of these analog pins mean. So A0 is the first joystick's X movement, and then A1 is the first joystick's Y movement, and then so on for the second joystick as well. Here is the X value and Y value, and then X value 2, Y value 2. Whenever this is in place, then it reads the value that this is given. And if we come down a little further, here X value is set to reading analog, so this reads the whatever is connected to the analog pin, and then as you remember, this is A0, so this whatever is going through the analog pin, it comes out as this X value, and for all the other values, and that is how the joystick moves. It reads this value and this value from the analog read.